täällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
Hello, friends, and welcome to our coverage of the ECL Pro Division Quarterfinals right here at twitch.tv/Reactio Media. My name is Brandon Bigsby, better known as B Major, and folks, we have a fun rest of the series on hand today. ROBE Esports, the number 8 seed, going up against Almost Famous, the number 3 seed, the ECL Pro Division champions from 2 seasons ago, looking to win their crown for the second time in the last 3 seasons. They're a couple of steps away and currently find themselves down 2-1 in this series. We will have a winner decided right here on broadcast today. So one of these 2 teams will punch their ticket into the semifinals, which also means they will have a chance to at least earn their way into the elite division. If you make the semifinals, you secure a spot at least in a relegation playoff. But before we get into any of that, you gotta focus on this quarterfinals matchup. And before we do kind of show you the bracket and go through the breakdown of these teams, we will give you a quick look at the standings just to kind of show you how these teams got here. We didn't get to cover things last week in the round of 16, so we will show you guys how things unfolded for both of these teams in their respective groups, starting out with Almost Famous, finishing second in group number 1, went 22-5-3, 67 points, only 5 points outside of Golden Buffaloes for that number 1 spot. And you see the big thing with them, the goal scoring prowess, 130 goals, highest tally of anyone in this group in the Pro Division. As a matter of fact, it's actually higher than any other team in the Pro Division other than Pirates Esports and Afterlife. So third in the division, one of the best goal scoring teams in the league, a very tightly contested group at the top. And you can see Almost Famous, one of the favorites coming into the playoffs. You can see why with the way they performed in the regular season. While over in Group 2 is where you will find ROBE Esports. ROBE Esports ended up finishing a little bit lower. They finished 4th, but again, a very tight group with a lot of parity and a lot of familiar names in there as well that are veterans of this series. You think Octukset, you think Poggers, you think Fallon Coal Miners. You have a couple of the top teams up there as well, like Afterlife and Pirates Esports. Vizio, another one of those veteran teams that you mentioned. But the thing with ROBE Esports is that they were only 4 points behind for that number 1 spot, with 22-8-2, has 64 points. Granted, the teams in Group 2 did play 2 more games than the teams in Group 1, as the Group 1 teams had 16 teams, the Group 2 teams had 7 teams. So gives them a couple of more games, so the stats may be a little bit skewed there, but nevertheless, ROBE Esports, group of the top teams in that group for a reason. No slouch, not a whole lot separating these 2 teams meeting in the quarterfinals here today. And we'll give you a quick look at the bracket as well, just to show you how things have taken shape coming into these quarterfinals. And for the most part, really not a whole lot of upsets. Most of these teams are the ones that we expected it to make it to this point of the season. A lot of the top teams in the Pro Division during the regular season were the ones that showed themselves to be the top teams in the round of 16. If you go back to last season in the winter, we had a lot of upsets. Not so much this season. Only 2 teams that were higher seeded found their way into the quarterfinals, that being Octukset and Fallon Coal Miners. And as you can see, the 9 and 11 seeds. So really not a big difference there in terms of the teams that they beat. But Almost Famous and ROBE Esports, again, that being the series that we were focused on today. ROBE Esports coming in with that 2-1 series advantage and a critical game 4 that we will see coming up in just a matter of minutes. But let's give you a look at the head-to-head matchup to show you how these two teams have fared so far in the playoffs. And I mean, as you can see, the offense for both of these two squads is absolutely phenomenal. 50% on the power play for both of them, each of them matching exactly 33 goals. And I mean, you go back to the regular season stats, as we mentioned, both of these two teams were two of the top goal scoring teams in the league. I mean, almost famous. They averaged 4.33 goals for per game. That was second best in the elite division, while for ROBE Esports, I mean, they were pretty solid as well. We're just a little bit behind them at around 4 goals per game. That was top 5 in the division. So these are two of the best teams in pro that you will find on the offensive side of things. They're going to go back and forth plenty of times throughout this series on that end, but no slouches on defenses either. So it will be interesting to see if one of these two teams can step up and stop the other's elite offense. Now, the starting lineups for both of these two teams. We will start out with ROBE Esports. Over on the left side of your screen, the forward trio, Puntila at left wing, Jyrki at center, and Tehizu at right wing. While back on defense is Luki at left D and Oxtu at right D. And in between the pipes is Viltsup. While for Almost Famous, you'll see a lot of familiar names, not just in the pro division, but even in the elite division as well. Kernany at left wing, Ikavalko at center, and Ricardo at right wing, while back on defense is Yalkin on the left side, and Sisu over on the right, a former elite division player for the last few seasons, made the step down, and another former elite division player who made the step down with Almost Famous, Kosti, in goal for this Almost Famous team here today. Now, we'll take you position by position, starting out with the centers, and as you can see, both Jyrki and Ikavalko pretty even overall statistically. Ikavalko with the slight advantage in the points and assists, but you see Jyrki, one more goal than what Ikavalko has had so far, and these two centers, absolutely phenomenal. Both of them, I mean, they just have that ability to make plays, not just for themselves, but also for their teammates as well, and kind of see that so far within the stats. That was the same case in the regular season. Ikavalko had 55 points. Jyrki had 56. So these are two very, very even players at that center position. They also have both been very good at the faceoff dot as well. Just 0.2% separating these two players. So that center matchup going to be a lot of fun to watch between these two teams. And Ikavalko, the captain for this Almost Famous team as well. Now over to the wingers, you see Puntila and Tehizu over on that ROBE Esports side. Those two of the better wingers that you will find in this division. Arguably one of the best winger duos in general that you will find in the division. You see they have been amazing so far in these playoffs, and both Puntila and Tehizu, two of the better, I mean, point tally guys and assist guys in the division during the regular season. Puntila, he finished 5th in the division in points in the regular season with 84. He was tied with guess who? Potslov. Yeah, if you're tied with Potslov in points, I'd say you're doing pretty darn good throughout your season, and both these guys are ranked top 10 in the division in assists. No team had more players ranked in the top 10 in assists than ROBE Esports did. So those two, a lot of fun to watch. Could be interesting to see them go against Kennedy and Ricardo. And I mean, Ricardo, he has been the man of the moment. 27 points in 7 playoff games played so far. I mean, you can't ask for much more than that. That is just a little bit less than a 4-point per game pace. Absolutely absurd numbers. He had 77 during the regular season. So he stepped up even further for this Almost Famous team. Him and Kernany, they have been a very good duo, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see if they can match what Puntila and Tehizu have been able to do, especially Kernany, kind of a little bit lacking in the point tallies, I would maybe say, for a left winger, but still someone that we've seen step up in the past and produce at a high level. So going to be interesting to watch these two winger duos go head to head. Now for the defensive pairings, I'll be going up against each other. And again, the offense gets the attention typically for these two teams. And I mean, you kind of look at the stats and you can see a little bit of that even. I mean, looky, 21 points in his 10 games played. He is a very interesting case because if you go all the way back to the regular season, he led all defensemen in this division with points and assists, had 74 points, 60 assists, and his 60 assists were the second most of all skaters in the division. So he was putting up numbers that a lot of forwards dream of having, but yet he is a defenseman. And you see he has 63 hits and 7 shots blocked in the 10 games that he's played in the playoffs. So not only does he produce on the offensive side, but he's a very good defensive defenseman as well. Someone that I think that really, regardless of what happens with ROBE Esports season, could very well find himself in the elite division in ECL 26. He's proven that ability. Well, on the other side, you have Yakin and you have Sisu, two guys that are very experienced, very familiar, arguably one of the most experienced defensive pairings that you'll find in this division. Obviously, we all know Sisu, what he's able to do on the 1v1 side. And then you have Yalkin right next to him, who was a part of that almost famous team that won the Pro Division Championship a season ago. Seasoned defenseman, seasoned player. It'll be fun to watch these two go head-to-head in this matchup. Well, last but not least, the starting goaltenders for each of these two sides. And I mean, you look at the stats, Viltsup, phenomenal, 84.4 save percentage, a 2.40 GAA, even has a shutout in there. ROBE Esports, they went to 7 games in their first series, and I mean, Viltsup, he is a big reason that they won that series over Aspire. Aspire, a very good team that arguably was maybe a little bit underseeded potentially as a 5 seed, could have very well have been better. But, you know, this ROBE Esports team relied on their goaltender, and he stepped up for them at a lot of critical points. That one shutout, by the way, was in Game 7. So a goalie that had just a 74.11 save percentage all the way up to an 84.4 in this playoff run so far. You have to step up this time of year and elevate your game. Viltsup has done that for his team. On the other side for Kosti, maybe not the stats that you would expect from him, but I mean, he had an 80.3 save percentage in the regular season. I think he's a lot better and has been a lot better than maybe what some of those stats would indicate. And again, Kosti, a very experienced goaltender. I mean, has played with the Blackjacks in the Elite Division, spent a little bit of time with Vesapampa as well for a few seasons. So he is somebody that is used to playing high-level competition. I think he will step up. I think he will be a lot better than what that 76.8 save percentage does indicate. So these two goaltenders going to be a lot of fun to watch go head-to-head. Although the pressure definitely a little bit more on Kosti and Last Famous, down 2-1 in the series. Won Game 3 yesterday in blowout fashion. ROBE Esports took the first 2 games of the series 3-1, but Almost Famous were able to come back and make this thing a little bit more interesting with a dominant performance in game number 3, a 7-3 victory. You kind of just look at things. We'll kind of talk about some of the stats throughout how those first 3 games went, but these two teams really even coming into this season. Actually both played each other in the Pro Division qualifier as well to make their way into the Pro Division. So these teams are familiar with each other. They've played 5 total times in the last 2.5 months. So it's going to be fun to see who can separate themselves and to see if maybe Almost Famous can turn this into a best of 3, or if ROBE Esports can take a 3-1 series lead coming into game number 5, as we're just moments away from game 4. And we set the table for these two teams. Again, a lot on the line, but while we do have a moment, we want to make sure to put you on to our friends at WellNet. If you go to health.sportsgamer.gg, use the code SportsGamer1, you can get a 1-month free trial. They have all types of amazing exercises, all from the comfort of your own home and all from the convenience of your smartphone. They even have exercises that are specifically curtailed to gamers like you and I. So make sure to go to health.sportsgamer.gg, use that code SportsGamer1, and WellNet will give you a 1-month free trial. A big thank you to WellNet for their support and for giving that offer to the community. And always nice to see some of these sponsors give some of those deals out, and they aren't the only ones that are giving a deal. We also have our friends over at Game Changer. If you go to GameChangerOfficial.fi, use the code SportsGamer10 at checkout, you can get a nice little discount code on your purchase. They have all types of amazing supplements, whether it's for performance, whether it's for recovery, whether you just want to relax and kind of level down, or if you just want to focus, Game Changer has it with all at the convenience of just 2 capsules a day. So go to GameChangerOfficial.fi, use that code SportsGamer10, and you can get a discount on your purchase at checkout. And a big thank you to Game Changer for their support and for offering that nice deal. Make sure you do go show the support to both WellNet and Game Changer that they show us here at SportsGamer GG. We always say it, what we do would not be possible without them and sponsors like them. So a big time thank you to them for offering their support here for us and giving a nice deal for the community to take advantage of, as the two teams are searching. So we should get things ready to go in just about 2 to 3 minutes, give or take, hopefully a little bit less. But again, very intriguing series. Going to be a lot of fun to see really how things look after that game 3 yesterday. We talked about it. Almost Famous, a 7-3 victory after ROBE Esports took those first 2 games. But you kind of look at the overall stats, and Almost Famous, you would think that they were the ones up 2-1 in this series. Almost Famous has outshot ROBE Esports 58-38 in the first 3 games. That is an average of 19.3 shots to 12.7. So they've had the majority of shots. In terms of time of attack, Almost Famous is at 36 minutes and 24 seconds compared to ROBE Esports having 16 minutes and 19 seconds. So in terms of offensive opportunity and generating chances, Almost Famous have been the better team in this series. It just have not been able to find that scoring touch until that third game where they were able to rattle home 7 goals. So they've had the opportunities, they've had the shots, they've had the time and attack. It's just a matter of, can they put it all together? Can they get past Viltsup in net? And I mean, from what we saw in game 3, we're going to have to wait and see, but it seems like they may have figured something out. We'll see if that was maybe just a one-time thing, or if there is something within this ROBE Esports team they have found that works for them that they can maybe exploit. But nevertheless, this is an Almost Famous team that has a ton of experience and a ton of talent across the board, not just in the pro division, but in the elite division as well. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see what happens in these next few games. You see both teams in the lobby and about ready to go. You get a look at some of the builds really quick there, and unfortunately, I cannot read Finnish, so I can't really make out what's what, so I apologize. But for our Finnish speaking and reading viewers in the chat, you guys can kind of tell, and you can feel free to let me know. This is why I need to learn Finnish very desperately. In the off season, I need to commit the next 3 months learning Finnish, learning Swedish, some of the European languages, so I can communicate a little bit better with you guys. But we've got game 4 about to get underway. Almost Famous versus ROBE Esports. ROBE Esports up 2-1 in this series. But we will be watching from the perspective of Almost Famous in their road all whites, that beautiful clean look, while ROBE Esports in their home red and black jerseys. Ikavalko and Yurki set for the face-off. We're underway for game number 4 as Almost Famous working in the offensive end, and Ikavalko controls it. Behind the net and goes back to Ricardo. Back to Ikavalko, and he scores! Well, that took little to no time. Almost Famous strikes first, the wraparound from Ikavalko. And just 48 seconds in, Almost Famous take a 1-0 advantage over ROBE Esports. That's quite the way to start. We were asking the question during pregame, will Almost Famous be able to carry over the momentum from game 3? Well, so far so good, but ROBE Esports have a power play after that penalty taken by Ikavalko. So ROBE Esports with a man advantage here. Walked on both these two teams. 50% on the power play so far in these playoffs. Absolutely phenomenal. With that man advantage, just the shot on from Ricky. Locked in front. Ricky going forward, passing front, hits the post. Another shot there, saved there by Costi. Held on to for the stoppage. ROBE Esports trying to find that tying answer after giving up a goal 48 seconds in. Ikavalko, that wraparound goal, but the penalty right after, and now ROBE Esports looking to tie it back up. Controlled by ROBE, in the offensive end. One-time shot is wide. Picked up by Oxy, and goes down over to Yizu. Yizu to Yuki. Back to Yizu, shot on with blocked, and ROBE Esports still maintains possession. Almost Famous struggling to get out of their own end. Shot in front, and they score! Yurki puts it in past Costi from the slot, and ROBE Esports tie this thing up on the power play. 3 minutes in, 1 goal apiece, and we're all tied up yet again. Ikavalko's goal for Almost Famous, Yurki's goal for ROBE Esports, the 2 centermen. Notching 1 on the scoreboard. We told you guys this was going to be a fun back and forth rest of this series, and folks, if you tuned in, you're not going to want to stop now. You're going to want to stick with us for the rest of this one. Game number 4 right here. We'll go all the way through until the conclusion of this series as an offside called as Almost Famous tried to break it into the offensive zone. Again, the winner of this series punches their ticket into the semifinals, which is important as everyone in the semifinals will have their shot to make it to the elite division, whether it's winning the pro division title. The shot on from Kennedy was stopped. Almost Famous working in the offensive end. It's a big hit there taken by Ricardo. Here comes ROBE Esports. But as we were saying, you pretty much guarantee an opportunity to make the elite division if you make the semifinals, whether it's winning the pro division title, which if you do, you are automatically promoted in the elite division for next season, although Your semifinalists, the three that didn't win the title, will play in a relegation playoff against the ranked 15 through 13 teams in the Elite Division. You win that relegation playoff, you're in Elite next season. So one of these two teams will earn that opportunity. ROBE Esports going to go on the power play yet again. A penalty taken by Yalkin, so Almost Famous, who just gave up power play goal a few minutes ago. We'll have to go right back on the penalty kill here. ROBE Esports controlled in the offensive end. Lucky had it. Gave it up to Lucky over at the point. Lucky looking. Pass across was denied, and the puck goes off of the netting, and be a face-off here for ROBE Esports in the offensive zone. 11:52 to play here in period one, tied at 1. Buntina trying to pass the puck, did not find it. Shot on from Lucky was blocked by Sisu and will go out of play. Offensive zone draw here coming up for ROBE. Right side of Koski, one back to Lucky. Looking at the face-off circle, trying to pass it across, and it's found by Tahizu. Gets that shot on there from Atsu, was stopped by Koski, and he'll hold on for the freeze. Once again, 42 seconds to go on this man advantage for ROBE Esports. Again, scored their first goal on the power play, and it was rather late in the clock, so there's some time here for Almost Famous to stand tall and see if they can do so. Able to clear that out there with Ricardo, and ROBE Esports right back in the offensive zone. Easy controls it. Back to Oxley, one-timer was wide. Another shot there. There's Buntila put that one on net. ROBE Esports still pushing. Yalkin makes his way out of the box. He's back to 5-on-5, and he's got a lot of speed up ice, but pass attempt picked off there by ROBE Esports. They'll do the pass across, intercepted by Yalkin. Almost Famous under some pressure. Can't get out of their own end. Shot on in front. Another shot at Buntila puts it in past Koski. And ROBE Esports take their first lead of this game for. Buntila, right place, right time, cleans up the garbage in front. ROBE Esports with their first lead of this game, and a 2-1 lead in the game, a 2-1 lead in the series, and now Almost Famous. And find a response down the other end, but don't keep that possession for long as now ROBE Esports starts to break. Again, this is the ECL Pro Division Quarterfinals by SportsGamer GG in the European Championship League. The winner of this series moves on to the semifinals. Almost Famous. Looks in the offensive end, shot on, stopped off the pad of Viltsa. They're looking to slow things down as Lucky moves up the Punti. Speed up the left boards, finds some space, shot it on, gloved away by Kosti, and he'll hold on for the stoppage. Kosti, his 5th save of the game, 7 shots. I feel like ROBE Esports has really been the dominant team so far throughout this first period since allowing that opening goal. All the zone time, all the shots on net, a pair of power plays, and Almost Famous going on their heels. Quick chance there, stopped on the stick of Viltsa, and Almost Famous still pushing. The one-timer was blocked, but they still have possession. Ricardo's shot stopped again by Viltsa. ROBE Esports just looking to retreat here, and they do get it out on their own end, but it leads to an icing call. 3:43 to go. ROBE Esports holding on to a 1-goal lead, but Almost Famous starting to push back here. Defensive zone draw for Almost Famous, tied up, 1 in the defensive zone by ROBE Esports. Aksu moves this up for ROBE. Trying to force that down the middle of the Yerky, but couldn't find it. Almost Famous in the offensive end. Igavalko trying to pass in the front, but it's intercepted by Buntila. And here comes ROBE Esports down the other end. Rookie controlling in, slows things down, and Almost Famous forcing the reset. Win by ROBE Esports, no one going to give chase to that one, so now Almost Famous will take over. Less than a minute to play. Actually with possession, but takes a big hit there as he passed that to Tiizu. Rookie to Puntila. Tiizu, that's Rookie. Turnover on that pass attempt, and Ricardo up the right boards with speed. 4 seconds to go. Ricardo finds Sisu trying to pass that towards the slot, but not able to get it home, and that will do it for period number 1. ROBE Esports a 2-1 advantage after allowing a goal just 48 seconds in. Get back-to-back unanswered and find themselves with that 1-goal advantage at the end of 20 minutes. Get a look at a couple of the plays there throughout that period. The goal that broke the tie. That one right there from Puntila. Stats will be very interesting to look at, as ROBE Esports were, again, the better team in terms of offensive production for most of that period, but Almost Famous were able to find their rhythm a little bit in those last 4 or 5 minutes, and really did start to kind of tip the scales in their favor. But we'll get a look at those goals once again. This was the goal that broke the tie for ROBE Esports, and boy, you feel like if you're Almost Famous, you maybe might have a bit of a case there for goaltender interference, but no call, so won't make much of a difference for them. But Frosty definitely hampered and hindered a little bit to be able to get to that, but nevertheless, ROBE Esports a 1-goal advantage and a 1-game advantage in the series, up 2-1 in both as we have period number 2 underway. We want to make sure we thank our sponsors, Proven Legacy, Game Changer, and Wellnet for their support of ECL and SportsGamer GG. What we do wouldn't be possible without them, and ROBE Esports now control it in the offensive zone. He controls it over at the left corner, looking for an option, doesn't have much, and it's found by Puntila. Controlling it, couldn't get that shot off cleanly, and it's turned over. Almost Famous slow things down and start the break. Passed up by Yalkin, but an offsides called as Kearney just a little bit ahead there of that pass. .17:01 the play here in period 2. Neutral zone face-off coming up between Ikavalko and Yurki. Right up one by ROBE Esports, and Yurki immediately gets it past the opposite. And scores! Puntila taps it in front! And ROBE Esports double their lead to 2. A 3-1 score. 3 unanswered goals. And all of a sudden, Almost Famous will a little bit more pressure on their shoulders now from scoring just seconds into this game to now being down by a pair and allowing 3 unanswered. And they find a response here. Almost Famous trying to work it in the offensive end, but not able to establish the zone. It's turned over, and now ROBE Esports try to work down the other end. Puntila controls it, has 2 goals already in this game. Easy with it, from behind, and that puck goes off the stick, and Almost Famous now going down the other way. Team trying to get it over to Kearney, but Easy front was picked off, and now ROBE Esports a 4-on-1 here. 2-on-1 developing shot on, he scores! Puntila, the hat trick on the one-timer! And ROBE Esports 4 unanswered goals. And this team have found a groove, they have found a rhythm. It's like the opposite of what we saw in game 3 is Almost Famous looking to coordinate a response. Almost had a chance there, but couldn't get it on net. In possession, however, puck loose in front. Rebound by builds up, and it's loose. And recovered by Ricardo at the corner. Ricardo behind the net to Ikavalko. Ikavalko to the point to Sisu. Sisu over to Yalkin. Yalkin moving forward, gives it back to Sisu. Passed over to Kennedy. Kennedy back to Yalkin at the high wall. Passed it to himself there. It wasn't intentional, but sure was calculated. Yalkin holding it at the point, trying to find anything, looking for space, looking for an option. Yalkin gives it behind over to Ikavalko. The right corner. Ikavalko poked off of his stick, puck loose behind the net, and found by ROBE Esports. A great defensive possession there for ROBE, and that's been a part of their game, but they can't get it out of their own zone. It's almost famous. A slap shot from Yalkin goes wide, but it keeps it in the offensive zone for now. ROBE Esports now get it out. Sisu with it, pass across, intercepted by Sisu. And Almost Famous over halfway through this game, find themselves down by 3. ROBE Esports surging here and take a 3-1 series lead. 1 game away from punching their ticket into the semifinals. It'll be their first ever trip to the semifinals in the Pro Division as the shot on was stopped by Frosty. ROBE Esports still pushing, however. Control behind the net by Puntila, lost there, and Almost Famous speeding their way down the opposite side of the ice. Valko with it, bumped from behind, and found by Aksu. Gets it over to Hizu, and now up to Puntila. Puntila trying to work his way past Sisu. Drops over at the right wall. Still controlling it. Has it over behind the net. The front shot goes wide. Oh man, Yurki had that one. A wide open net, but missed it on the shot. The one-timer blocked in front. It's Almost Famous tried to counter. Esports back with possession as an offside called with 2:53 to play. And talk about ROBE Esports, for those maybe not as familiar with their past and with their history. This team, their second season under the ROBE Esports name, their first season back in the ECL 24 spring season in the Pro Division. They missed the playoffs, only by a few points. Finished 9th in their group. Easy was the only returning player from that team, but this team used to be known as Rocking Bears. Actually had a couple of current Elite Division talents in both Snipery and Latvex, two players that are in the Elite Division playoffs. Latvex, the goaltender for Houston Coulter, were just outed in the quarterfinals, while Snipery, one of the forwards for Hymo. Watch Hymo and Snipery tomorrow right here at twitch.tv/Reactio Media as they go up against Parasite for the rest of their series. But got quarterfinals action in the Pro Division today, and Snipery's former team looking good so far. As a chance for Almost Famous, can't get the shot off. He was poked from behind, but it's going to be a penalty, and a penalty shot at that. So the rare penalty shot upcoming here for Almost Famous, as taking it will be Ricardo. 13 goals in the playoffs, 32 in the regular season, and here we go. Ricardo putting on a move, forehand shot denied by Viltsup. And that felt like it could have been a game-changing play, an opportunity for Almost Famous. But Viltsup denies them, and it's just been one of those days so far for the number 3 seed. But for ROBE Esports, they keep the good times rolling. Up 4-1 at the end of period 2. And their star man, Puntila, has been absolutely phenomenal. We talked about him, had 84 points, 38 goals, and 46 assists in the regular season, one of the top producing fours that we saw in the Pro Division this season, and it's carried over in the playoffs. It's carried over in this game for a hat-trick performance so far. And his ROBE Esports team looking to hold on and take a 3-1 series lead here as, again, ROBE Esports, a team that have yet to attend the ECL Pro Division semis. This is the furthest they have ever been in the Pro Division. To get a look again at that save on the penalty shot, as get one more look at it here, and just hits off the side of the blocker, the side of the pad of Viltsup. He was reading left, and Ricardo went to his right, but just had enough pad there to make that save. As we're underway for the third and final frame of regulation, can Almost Famous pull off the comeback, where ROBE Esports cap this game off with a victory. Almost Famous, they have been stalled out offensively. Their first goal came 48 seconds in. They've not had one since. They have it in the offensive zone now, which is controlled behind the net by Ricardo. He gives up to Sisu at the point. Sisu at the right wall, looking for a pass in front, but it's picked off. He's looking for Ikavalko. Here comes Aksu, which beat across on the pass to Luki, but it was denied on the one-timer by Kosti. Up with speed. That's how these two teams like to play. You'll see them go all out, full force, and you see it right now. Look, he has possession, but couldn't find the pass across there. A battle for and found by Kierman. These two teams, they like that rampant pace. They love to fly up and down the ice. That's why these games are going to be high action, so make sure you keep your eye out. It's fun for a commentator, to say the least, because ROBE Esports couldn't keep it in the offensive zone, and they're now forced to reset. Leave it to Puntila at the left boards. Looked off of that puck there by Sisu, and now here comes Almost Famous down the other end. This is turned over, a potential breakaway for Luki. He gets it, backhand shot denied by Kosti. A huge save to keep his team in this game, and another one there as Kosti with back-to-back stops. He's almost famous in striking distance, but he needs the offense in front of him to make something happen. Can they do so here on this possession as it's turned over and intercepted? ROBE Esports with a chance. Puntila now at a breakaway shot on, blockered away by Kosti. How good has Kosti been over this last few minutes, keeping Almost Famous alive? There's a shot there from the all-team, blockered aside by Viltsup. The two goaltenders that we raved about coming into this game, showing you why right now. He has it, moves it over to Puntila. Puntila at the left corner, bump from behind and turned over. Nice defensive play there, made by Sisu. So all-team gets it past the blue line. Controls the Almost Famous, tried to force it in front, but nothing there. We've seen a lot of those forces not really work for this Almost Famous team. Have to try to find something outside of just forcing that puck through the middle. ROBE Esports clogging the lane, clogging the slot, clogging the front of the net, and Almost Famous just have not been able to really find anything since that opening goal. They do so here on this possession. Once again, forced to the middle, turned over as it's picked off by Puntila. ROBE Esports clear it out, but an icing going to be called. 7 minutes and 3 seconds to play here in period 3. ROBE Esports holding on to that 3-goal advantage. The offensive zone draw for Almost Famous, won by ROBE Esports in their own end. And over in the neutral zone as here comes Almost Famous down the opposite side. Sees who shot on, gloved away by Viltsup, who will hold on for the stoppage. Their offensive zone draw here coming up for Almost Famous. Shot in front and they score! ECL beats Viltsup. And still work to be done, but all of a sudden, Almost Famous making things a little more interesting. They cut the lead to 2. Around 6 minutes remaining. They have possession now once again as that shot was blocked in front. ROBE Esports, you gotta feel like the time to be their friend. They can't get out of their own zone here, however, as Kearney has it behind the net, moves up to Sisu. The point shot on, side there by Viltsup. Most Famous pressuring here all of a sudden, but it's turned over. And here comes ROBE Esports down the other end, but not for long. Valky now with it, trying to move it up to ECL, but he couldn't get a hold of that pass, and it's going to lead to an icing. So, offensive zone draw coming up for ROBE Esports with 3:33 to play. Face off to the left side of Kosti. Tied up. Won by ROBE. Shot on there from Puntila. Stopped by Kosti off of his pads. Almost Famous now working down the other end. Valko back to Yalki. Yalki hit off of that puck, but it's recovered by ECL. Then he gets it off of the stick of a ROBE Esports player. That was the Hizu who had it, but couldn't keep it. Yalki over to Sisu. Over a one-timer to Ricardo, but stopped. Ricardo gets it back, trying to give it to ECL, but it goes off the boards and into the glove of Viltsup. So an offensive zone face-off coming up again for Almost Famous with 1:22 to play in regulation. Almost Famous looking for a pair of goals to push this thing into an overtime period. ROBE Esports simply looking to hold on. You just look at some of the names across this Almost Famous lineup. All of the experience. Kosti, Sisu, ECL, Ricardo, Kearney, Yalkin. All of these are players that are very experienced in these playoff games. Almost Famous as a team. Remember, a former Elite Division club. Played in the Elite Division for 4 seasons before being relegated in ECL 10. Have not been back since. Thought they were going to make their way back up last season, but unfortunately, resolved right before the season began and not play last season, but they scored. A one-timer from Yalkin goes off of the bottom left, posted in, and all of a sudden, the lead cut down to 1, and Almost Famous almost there. 47.8 to play, and it's a 1-goal game. Can they do the unthinkable? They have possession here. 40 seconds to play. Sisu gets it back and moves it up to ECL. Down by Ricardo. Puck loose in front. Shot on. Saved by Viltsup. We feel like ROBE Esports feel the pressure. How do they respond? Mizu bumped off that puck, but it's found by Puntila. Moves it up to the point to Yerki. Back to Tihizu and brings it around the boards, but it's found first by Ricardo. 15 seconds to play. Potential last offensive chance for Almost Famous. Pass across, but picked off in the middle by Aksu. Almost Famous trying the pressure. It's dumped out by ROBE Esports. Will it be an icing? It will not. 3 seconds to go. Move up, but an offside rather called on Almost Famous. 2.6 seconds to play. And barring a crazy sequence on this neutral zone faceoff, ROBE Esports look like they should hang on, but let's see what happens here. Faceoff won by Ikavalko, not able to get it in the offensive zone, and ROBE Esports, it got scary for the Bears for a minute, but they're able to hold on a 4-3 win in game number 4 over Almost Famous, 1 victory away from punching their ticket into the semifinals. You see the stats right there. Rather even across the board. 17-14 in shots in favor of ROBE. About an extra minute of time and attack for Almost Famous. 9:17 compared to 8:04. And how about ROBE Esports? A valiant effort there from Almost Famous, getting a pair of goals, cutting the lead down to 1. Had an opportunity there, had that one shot in front of the net, but Zilt's up, able to step up, make that big save when needed. As he has done for this ROBE Esports team so many times during this postseason. Again, comes into today with a 84.4 save percentage in the regular season, or excuse me, in the playoffs. Had just a 74 save percentage in the regular season, so a 10% jump in save percentage. Big-time players show up in big-time spots. Viltsup has been that for ROBE Esports. As we take it back into the booth, Brandon Bigsby with you, a.k.a. B Major. ROBE Esports, a 3-1 series lead now after that 4-3 victory in game number 4. All of a sudden, Almost Famous, one of the championship favorites, the Pro Division champions 2 seasons ago, one loss away from seeing their season come to an end. It would be a definite disappointment for a group that had their eyes set on a Pro Division title and the Elite Division. They're going to have to rattle on 3 straight wins to find that, while ROBE Esports looking to make it to the semifinals, the furthest that they have ever made it in the postseason. Can they do it? We'll find out as we have Game 5 coming up in just a few minutes. But before we do get to that, we're going to take a short break, hear a word from our sponsors, and be right back with Game number 5 after this break. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the SportsGamer Health and Performance Program. Nice to have you here. Here you have a large amount of different workouts from Wellnet, but also material just exclusive for you gamers. In your sessions, we focus mostly on neck and shoulder mobility, back health, and concentration. So give it a try and let us know what you think about it.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
We said minutes, we meant moments. These two teams wasted no time to get things back going for game number 5 as ROBE Esports up 3-1 in the series over Almost Famous is Almost Famous. We are watching again from their perspective. They are in the all-black home uniforms while ROBE Esports in their white roads as ROBE Esports wasting no time. Come on, guys, we've got bills to pay. We have sponsors that we got to help out. They support us. We got to support them. Barely could get through the advertisements, but these two teams are antsy. It's a breakaway shot, and he scores. Ricardo beats Viltsup. And similarly to game number 4, Almost Famous start out game 5 with a quick goal. Just a minute and 55 seconds in, they have a 1-0 lead over ROBE Esports. As you get another look at it there, and poor Viltsup, he was out to lunch on that one, slides over to that right side. Ricardo had nothing but open net. He would have had to have tried his hardest to miss that. Almost Famous with a 1-0 lead. Not even 2 minutes in here. As again, ROBE Esports, a 3-1 series lead. A team that has a lot of talent, made multiple transfers over the offseason, but no one really knew exactly what this team was going to look like, how far they could go. You felt like this was definitely a playoff team. I mean, look at a guy like Jahizu. Obviously, we talked about Puntila, and we talked about guys like Luki, who were leaders in the division in points. We go all the way back to last season. Tahizu was 3rd in the division in points for Aspire as a winner at 90-plus points last season. So he is also one of the better forwards in this division. It's no surprise to see ROBE Esports reach this point. They now find themselves 1 win away from making it all the way to the semifinals, but they still have a job to do. They find themselves down by 1. As Almost Famous have possession, working in the offensive zone with Sisu. Controls at the point and moves to the Alkin. Alkin at the left wall. Gives it back over to Kennedy. And he tried to feed Ricardo behind the net, but it was picked off by Luki. And here comes ROBE Esports trying to find their way down the other end. They weren't able to respond as quickly as they did in game number 1. And game 4 rather, game 1 of our coverage today, felt like that was really what changed the momentum of the game. Almost Famous got that quick goal to start things out just 48 seconds in. ROBE Esports got a power play goal just a couple of minutes after. Famous having the offensive zone right now, up by 1, but turn it over behind the net, and now here comes ROBE Esports down the other end. Easy controls it, one-time shot from Luki. It's denied by Koski. Held by Puntila at the corner, tried to feed Oxview at the point, but it was picked off. Academy with it. One-timer, and they score! Ricardo again! He has been a man of the moment in these playoffs for Almost Famous. Back-to-back goals in this one, but we talked about him. 27 points in 7 playoff games coming into today. He's extended that even further after these 2 games so far, and Almost Famous up by 2 and looking to make it 3 as Ricardo has it again. Shot on, stopped by Viltsup, and he'll freeze it with 8:54 to play. So Almost Famous, they have seemingly found their groove. It feels like in this series, it has been up and down for them. They've slowed down in the goal scoring, and all of a sudden they'll spike all the way back up. And we saw it in games 1 and 2, where they only had 2 goals in their first 2 games, and they rattled off 7 goals in game number 3 alone. And then in game 4, to get that quick goal, don't score until later on in period 3, where they got back-to-back goals, and all of a sudden, they end the game with those 2 unanswered, and have 2 more goals to start this game number 5 as Ricardo has a 2-on-1 pass across and they score! Yoki on the one-timer, and Almost Famous is up by 3 in the first period. Backs against the wall, and they have responded resiliently here so far in game 5. Shades of game 3 right now for ROBE Esports. They've got to be seeing war flashbacks right now to yesterday. As Almost Famous once again have it, but it's turned over. A 2-on-1 for ROBE. This is Puntila with it, but off of the stick of Kosti. Doesn't even get an official shot on net right there. So, a squandered opportunity for ROBE Esports that they could not afford to waste. And Almost Famous have possession once again in the offensive zone. Steve also dumps it towards the right corner. It's found first by Luki. And man, if you're ROBE Esports, how do you respond? Almost Famous punching back as hard as they have as the one-timer hits the bottom left post. And here comes Almost Famous once again down the other end. Ricardo controls it. Left corner, buck from behind, but keeps it. And it's found by Ikavalko. Up to the point to Yalkin. Ikavalko and over to Kennedy. Kennedy to Ricardo. Ricardo at the corner, up to Yalkin at the high left point. Picked off the stick, but found again by Ricardo. Ricardo at the left corner. Goes into Kearney. Kearney trying to feed Gavalco on the one-timer at the slot. It's intercepted, and here comes Robe down the other end. Dizu controlling it, gives it over to Pukula, but blocked on that shot. 7 seconds remaining. Almost Famous clear for now, and they will come out of that unscathed. A 3-0 lead for Almost Famous at the end of the first period. Ricardo with 2 goals and Yalkeen with the other. With their season on the line, this veteran-savvy, Almost Famous team have responded about as well as I think you could have asked them to. A 3-goal advantage, and they really kind of got it going from the get-go. You got to look there at that 3rd goal that was from Yalkeen to make it 3-0. And you look at the stats, and I mean, ROBE Esports not terribly far off. I mean, 351 of time and attack for Almost Famous compared to 221, but 5 shots compared to 3. So, I mean, it's not as if ROBE Esports have had nothing. They just haven't had enough, and Almost Famous have taken advantage of just about every opportunity that they have been given. So, an uphill battle for ROBE Esports already here in Game 5, but they have 40 minutes to try to climb their way back. We'll see if they can do it. As we get set for period number 2, we want to make sure to shout out our sponsors. COVID on Occupancy, Game Changer, and Wellness for their support of the ECL and SportsGamer GG. Man, Almost Famous maybe took a couple of Game Changer capsules. Both performance and focus. They have been locked in and ready to go. Once again, the captain, Igavalco, puts it in. Make it 4-0 in favor of Almost Famous. And if you're ROBE Esports, you don't want to get too concerned or too rattled because you're up 3-1, but to see Almost Famous clicking the way they are right now, firstly, you wonder where this was for about 30 minutes of that last game, that Game 4 that we just saw. And then you also wonder, is this the real Almost Famous? Can they keep this going? What could that mean for potential Game 6 and 7? ROBE Esports just reeling and trying to find their way here. They turn it over. They're able to get it back. Central 3-on-2 developing here as Ricky has it. Moves it over to Otsu. The one-timer stopped by Kosti. An offensive zone draw here coming up for ROBE Esports. Well, their first of this game. Tied up and won by Jahizu as that shot goes wide from Punktu. Down by Almost Famous in the offensive zone, but took us back in the neutral zone and will force a reset. 14 minutes to play in period 2. Almost Famous up by 4. We'll extend this series one more game, and barring quite the collapse, could be on their way. There's a shot there, all the way into the chest of Kosti, and he'll freeze it. Faced off to the right side of Kosti in the offensive end of ROBE. And back. Almost Famous having in the neutral zone, looking to push forward, but couldn't find much there. Now faced in the reset things with Yalkeen and Sisu. Offsides called as Igavalco was about right ahead of his teammates, and lead to a stoppage with 11:38 to play here in period 2. His own face-off coming up. And back to Ricky and from behind there by Sisu, and here comes Almost Famous down the other end. Kennedy with it. Gives it over to Ricardo. Back to Yalkeen at the left wall. Yalkeen working from the point, trying to find some space. Over to Igavalco. Igavalco down low. Sisu, shot picked off there. by ROBE Esports. He didn't come down the other end. Shot on there. That was Yurki. 9 by Costa. Almost famous. They've been slowed down a bit offensively. Just one shot so far in this period, but 4-goal advantage, and it doesn't matter too much, especially when that one shot is a goal. There's their second shot there, but it'll stop by Viltsa. They're trying to check their way down the other end, but denied right on the boards. Team dumps it down low, and an icing going to be called here. Offensive zone face-off now coming up for ROBE Esports. 6:25 to play in period 2. Almost famous holding on to that 4-goal lead. ROBE Esports getting in the offensive zone. Easy trying to pass it in front, but picked off there by Ricardo. And here comes Almost Famous down the other end. Kennedy with it. Finding space there for a pass, but it's recovered by Ikavalko, and Kearney gets it back. Spins there, couldn't find anything after the move, but a bit of flair being shown by Almost Famous up by 4 goals. I say I blame them. Slowed things down, and y'all team to set up the breakout. Moves it over to Sisu. Goes up to Ricardo. Poked off his stick. And found by ROBE Esports. Hit off of that puck by Yalkin, laying the lumbers. Yuki still putting himself up off of the ice. Yuki with a shot on off the pad of Koski, who will hold on for the stoppage and make that save. 2:01 to play. Here in period number 2, as ROBE Esports gets set for an offensive zone face-off. They've seemed to stop the bleeding, but yet to really heal. Down by 4, yet to score a goal so far in this contest. Woodkey gives it over down low to Punkin. Now to Aksu with that shot stopped by Koski, who will once again freeze it for the stoppage. 56.9 seconds to go here in the second period. Both teams evened up in shots at 7 apiece. ROBE Esports with another offensive zone draw coming up. And that as Pinky gets it on the tie-up. It's across and they score! Yurki puts it in over from that opposite side post, and ROBE Esports, they've got a steep hill to climb, but maybe revving up the engines and trying to find their way to a comeback. They cut the lead down to 3. Around 30 seconds to go here in the second period. Almost Famous having the offensive zone now. Maybe get that goal back. Balco controls it. It's in front, disrupted there by Tahizu, and Almost Famous will just kill the rest of the time in the neutral zone. So a 4-1 lead for Almost Famous after 40 minutes. Both sides of the goal there in that second period. One from Almost Famous, one from ROBE Esports just now. Let's get another look at it right there. Yurki camped out over at that left side post, gets that pass across over from Puntila, and cuts that lead down just a little bit. He's a quarter of the way to where he needs to be. Down by 4, now down by 3. 4-1 score. As again, you see the stats, and Almost Famous, they don't really have a crazy advantage in terms of opportunity. It's just that they've taken advantage of all of their chances, really, for the most part. They only had 2 shots there in that second period, but they've taken advantage of them, got 1 goal out of it. So doesn't really matter how many shots you get if you keep scoring, and you got to look at both of the goals there. That first one from Almost Famous, and that one right there we saw from ROBE Esports. We get things set for period 3, the final period of regulation. ROBE Esports potentially trying to mark the comeback, but a long way to go, down by 3 and 20 minutes to make it happen. Almost Famous had it in the offensive zone. It's controlled by Kennedy. Tried to feed Ricardo, but could not get that pass to him cleanly. ROBE Esports trying to work down the other end, but turn it over. And he with it once again. Over to Ricardo. Shot on. Stopped off of the stick of Viltsa. Let's see on the breakout here for ROBE. It's a pass the blue line cleanly and moves it over to Yurki. And Punti will try to find Tahizu, but pass a little bit strong, and it will force a reset here. Oh, as Aksu missed that puck there. Luckily, he had a turnover right back as the tip in front from Kernany stopped by Vildsson. That's the thing with these two teams. Things happen quickly with them. Whether it's good or bad, the pacing of these two squads, they love to rip their way up and down the ice. They love to fly. They don't like to save a whole lot of energy. It's very quick. They don't reset a whole lot. They just love to go north. They love to move up and down the ice as fast as they possibly can to establish their way in the offensive zone. It makes the game fast. It makes it fun to watch. It leads to some nervous moments, as just saw right there. Esports looking in the offensive zone right now. They need a goal pretty quickly here. If they want a comeback to happen, they got a tip in front, but Costa able to deny them. Almost famous to get out of their own end. Not able to just yet as get possession back, and Volko moves over to Ricardo. Knocked off of that puck, but recovered by Sisu. Sisu before play. Pass across the Kernany, off the post. Another chance here. Kernany looking shot, he scores! Hits the top right corner. And Almost Famous look on their way to pushing this to a Game 6. A 5-1 lead. As Kernany hits the back of the net. His 5th goal of these playoffs, and any dreams of a comeback may have just been dashed right there for ROBE Esports. Almost Famous, 5-1 lead. They get that goal back. They surrendered late in the second period as we approach the halfway mark of this third and final frame. It's shot on, swept aside there by Koski. And again, we've talked about the experience of this Almost Famous team. They've been in these situations, these must-win games. Team that has won 2 titles in their history. Team that has won a Pro Division title as recently as 2 seasons ago. Have it in the offensive zone right now. Beautiful play! Pass across, leads to a shot, but a stop by Vildsson. Mentioned this Almost Famous team. Their history goes all the way back to ECL 5. Ika Valko was the captain of that team. Their first season in the light division, as mentioned earlier, spent 4 seasons in the elite division from ECL 7 through 10. ECL 24 Pro Division champions. In the spring season, were light division champions in the ECL 24 winter season. So this team has won a championship in each of the last 2 seasons they've played. And now they're just rubbing it in. And we mentioned the longtime captain Ika Valko. He scores that one, his 2nd goal of the game. A 6-1 advantage now for Almost Famous with 5:46 to play. As again, a team with a championship pedigree flexing its muscle right now with their backs against the wall, down 3-1 in this series. 6-1 in this Game 5, and we will almost certainly at least have a Game 6 upcoming. ROBE Esports, the recovery will be interesting for them. They find themselves up 3-1 this series. They've been the victims of a blowout already once in this series, but nevertheless, this is a situation that they are not unfamiliar with. You go back to their series against Spire, they had a 3-1 series lead against them as well, and ended up losing their next 2 games, pushed it all the way to a Game 7. Spire pushing them to the very brink, and ROBE Esports able to win that Game 7 in a shutout victory. But my point to say all that is that this is a situation that ROBE Esports have found themselves in before. They were able to escape it the first time against Aspire, but with all due respect to Aspire, a very good team in the Pro Division, very worthy of being a playoff contender, a team that I honestly think could very well be on the rise over the next couple of seasons. This Almost Famous team is much different. They are a championship favorite coming into the season as Tehizu puts it in the back of the net. A quick passing play for ROBE Esports in their 2nd goal of the game. But nevertheless, this is a much different team to squander a 3-1 lead against. Granted, they haven't done it yet, but feel like some of the cracks in ROBE Esports may be forming a little bit so far here in this Game 5. And recovery will be interesting to watch. Can they bounce back? How do they bounce back? And how do they look to start in game number 6 after Game 5 that, to be quite honest, was never really close? 17 seconds to play. Almost Famous had it in the offensive zone. Cavalco controlling it. That's behind the net right now. And gives it over to Ricardo. Ricardo just kind of holding on to it as Almost Famous get that last shot on net. Saved by Viltsup. And that will do it. Almost Famous keep their season alive, and they do it in dominant fashion. A 6-2 victory over ROBE Esports. 3-2 series now. As they extend this series to a Game 6. We talked about this team. So many veterans, not just in the Pro Division, but also in the Elite Division with names like CC and Costi. Former Elite Division club and a former Pro Division champion showing why. One final look at the stats there. Poor Viltsup at 57 save percentage. Honestly, not indicative of what he was able to do. He didn't really have a whole lot of opportunity to improve it. But on the other side, Costi an 85 save percentage. Only one player, one skater, not accounting for a goal for Almost Famous in this game. They defeat ROBE Esports 6-2 in Game 5. As looks like we will get a quick look there at a couple of the goals there. As that was the breakaway there that started things off there. Ricardo just a couple of minutes into this game. And then not too long after, Almost Famous get another goal. Ricardo on that one-timer. And really after that goal, it felt like that was really where things started to take off for Almost Famous. Ricardo fighting Yalkeen on that one-timer, made it 3-0. And Ikavalko's goal to make it 4-0. Cleans it up in front. And really from that point forward, Almost Famous were in full control. He thought maybe at the end of the second period, this goal right here from ROBE Esports could maybe give them a puncher's chance, but in the third period, Almost Famous, beautiful move there by Kearney to put that in past Viltsup. That made it 5-1, and then this goal right here made it 6-1 from Ikavalko on that breakaway. And in ROBE Esports, you know, all formality, but something to feel good about to end this game. They get that goal there late in the third period, that pass across, finding Tahizu, their captain. Make it a 6-2 scoreline, but Almost Famous with a dominant victory. 3-2 series now in favor of ROBE Esports heading into Game 6. We bring you back into the booth. B Major with you as Almost Famous, a dominant performance there in Game 5. Could they potentially push things to a Game 7? Again, we've seen ROBE Esports squander a 3-1 series lead once in these playoffs. Almost Famous tried to make that happen again, but ROBE Esports, a team that has already come back from one blowout loss in this series, lost 7-3 in game number 3, and we saw them come back today and win Game 4 earlier on. So we'll see how that looks. We're going to take a break while these two teams get things set for Game 6. Do not go away, my friends. We'll be right back in just a few moments.
Welcome to the SportsGamer Health and Performance Program. Nice to have you here. Here you have a large amount of different workouts from Wellnet, but also material just exclusive for you gamers. In your sessions, we focus mostly on neck and shoulder mobility, back health, and concentration. So give it a try and let us know what you think about it.
makkukastike maistuu parhaalta. Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
I respect these two teams. They do not like wasting time. They do not like, well, let's take a few minutes and regroup. They want to get right into the action as soon and as quickly as possible. We've got game number 6 underway. We just saw Almost Famous win game 5, 6-2 to keep the series and their season alive. Esports, however, in the offensive zone, trying to clinch this series in game 6. A ticket into the semifinals waiting to be punched by one of these two teams today. Will be the first team to secure their spot into the semifinals, as two of the other series yet to get underway coming into today. Pirates Esports and Vizio, Golden Buffaloes and Fallon Coal Miners, while in the other series, Afterlife 2-0 over a Coop set, but Almost Famous are making a storyline of their own. They score to start game 6. Karani puts it in the back of the net on the pass from Sisu. And for the 3rd straight game, Almost Famous scored 2 minutes in. I'm not sure if I have ever seen that a team score that quickly in succession in 3 different games in a row, as they get another chance there, but that shot gloved in by Viltza. As a matter of fact, I have to correct myself. It's 4 straight games. They did the same thing actually yesterday in game 3. They scored 22 seconds in yesterday in game 3. They scored 40 seconds in earlier. I mean, they scored about a minute and a half in that last game, and now today, they score less than a minute in. For Almost Famous, they punch quick, so ROBE Esports, they're familiar with this. The problem is that Almost Famous, they are still pushing right now in the offensive zone, as Karani has it over at the left corner. Moves up to the point to Yalki. Over to Sisu, one-timer, and he scores! Sisu makes it 2-0 for Almost Famous. And all of a sudden, things for the Bears getting a little bit shaky. Almost Famous in the offensive zone again. That shot blocked and goes to the right corner. That's found by ROBE Esports. And ROBE Esports, you feel like they need a goal in the worst way possible. Down 2-0 already. Up 3-2 in the series, but they're seeing their advantage diminish more and more and more as this series continues. And if you go to 7, it just feels like it's going to be hard to come back and win this series, especially considering Almost Famous, they have momentum, they have things going, as that backhand shot was stopped by Koski. ROBE Esports, they have it in the offensive zone, but end up having to reset as that pass went wide. With the passing front shot on, side there. And the positive front shot in goes in! Huntala puts it in past Koski, and ROBE Esports was exactly what the doctor ordered. So they get a goal to cut that lead in half, 11 minutes to play. ROBE Esports have it in the offensive zone again, as Hula had it but couldn't hold on to it, and now Almost Famous down the other end. Shot on there from Mika Valko, stopped off to the side of Viltsup's pad, and now ROBE Esports go down the other end. Isu gets it off of the stick, however, and will set up the breakout for Almost Famous. Valko. It's off into Isu, getting it off the stick. Two captains of those two teams. Now team will reset things for Almost Famous. Approaching the 8-minute mark, Almost Famous up by 1, a 2-1 score. Karani with the first goal, Sisu with the second, as Karani tried to add a second one, but could not get to that puck in time. Yalkin over at the left boards, over to Sisu at the point. Shot from Macario, stopped there by Viltsup. Almost Famous still pushing, but it's turned over as Tahizu gets it off of the stick. Yurtke trying to work past the blue line, but an offside called with 6:22 to play in period number 1 in game 6. Almost Famous looking to push this to 7. 2-1 lead as of now. Esports getting that last goal there. Puntila to stop bleeding. Almost Famous, they reset. See the more experienced teams in this division, they will reset. They don't like what they see on the breaking. Esports trying to get something going. Have it now. It's the easy controls it. It's just waiting in the offensive zone. Trying to pass it over to Yurtke, but pass disrupted off the stick of a defender, and Almost Famous now take over possession. 3.5 to play. Team controlling it, moves it up to Kearney, but it's turned over. Puntila behind the net. Scoring option. Get up to the point, gets it back. Puntila back up to Oxy. With the right wall and gives it back over. Finds its way to Hizu again. Hizu getting shot on. Saved there by Koski. Another shot off of the blocker in front. Koski able to find that one and freeze it. 1:22 to go. Offensive zone draw coming for ROBE Esports. The right side of Koski. Up and one by ROBE as Puntila couldn't get that shot off cleanly, and now here comes Almost Famous down the other end. Up off of the stick of Ricardo. CC has to give that puck a chase and move it up the ice. Ricardo gets across, intercepted, and ROBE Esports not able to hold on to it. Kearney with it, puck in front. Found, however, by ROBE Esports. But that will do it for period number 1. A action-packed opening 20 minutes of play. Almost Famous with a 1-goal lead. They scored just a matter of seconds into this game. Kearney, this one-time goal right here. Kick off the scoring early on. And Sisu with a rip from the point. Made it 2-0. You thought, hey man, maybe Almost Famous are going to do what they did in game 5 again here in game 6. But ROBE Esports got the response that they needed. This goal right here in front from Puntila to make it a 2-1 score. You see the stats, pretty even between the two. Not a lot separating them in the way of shots or time on attack. It's kind of been that way throughout much of these 3 games that we've had on broadcast today. Kind of the opposite of what we saw yesterday between these two teams. As you get a look at all the goals once again, this was the goal from Sisu. He just picked that one clean top right shelf, and Philtsup was not able to get the save. But we go back to the first 3 games of this series. In game 1, pretty even. 12-11 shots, 3-1 win for ROBE Esports, but Almost Famous had 10 minutes and 11 seconds of time to attack to 5:03 for ROBE Esports. And we saw more of the same there in the next 2 games. I mentioned the stat earlier. Almost Famous outshot ROBE Esports 58-38 in the first 3 games, with an average of 19.3 shots per game to 12.7. A little bit more evened up, and Almost Famous right now, the benefactor of it is won game 5 or winning game 6, and will go on the power play here, up by a goal, a tripping call. To go against ROBE Esports. Time today that we have seen Almost Famous on the power play. 50% in this postseason. A shot there from Ricardo. Stopped by Philtsup, and ROBE Esports immediately able to dump this out. As we go back to the regular season, Almost Famous 21.82% on the power play. ROBE Esports 91.89% on the penalty kill. One of the top penalty kills in the division. It's top 5 of all teams. Almost Famous set up in the offensive zone. Kearney controlling it, has plenty of space. Gives it to Ricardo. Ricardo, into Kearney. Kearney looking at the left wall, gives to CC at the point. Scored earlier. One-timer from Ricardo! Robbed by Philtsup, and he'll hold on for the stoppage with 13 seconds to go on this Almost Famous power play. This off to the left side of Philtsup. Found and won by Almost Famous. Ricardo at the right wall. ROBE Esports back to a 5-on-5, but they're gonna be back to a 5-on-4 as they'll now have a power play chance. ECL heading to the box on a penalty. 2 minutes again here, and it's gonna be more 5-on-4 action. Almost Famous being able to take advantage of their power play. Could that come back to bite them here? ROBE Esports score on the power play earlier in game number 4. For 2 in that game on the power play. Didn't have any chances on the man advantage in game 5. So far, not any chances here on the opening power play of game number 6. It's 30 seconds to go on the man advantage. He's still looking for their first shot. Winton couldn't hold on to a great defense there made by Ricardo. Is Almost Famous. That is a textbook penalty kill right there. You're a coach, you want to put that one on tape and show it to your entire team. Let's not get any better than that. We're back to 5-on-5, and Almost Famous didn't allow as much as a shot attempt on that power play of ROBE Esports. They have it down in the offensive zone. DeValco controlling it. Gives it up to the point to Sisu, but that pass is off. We'll have a race for the puck. Won by Tahizu. Wraparound, and he scores! ROBE Esports tie it up! An errant pass leads to a goal down the other end, and that is how quickly the narrative can shift. We are now tied at 2, and man, oh man, Almost Famous on what seemed like a harmless mistake. That errant pass that was attempted to Sisu. They lose that race to the puck. Tahizu gets it, and the wraparound beats Kosti on that right post. And now Almost Famous have seen their 2-goal lead dashed. They have it in the offensive zone now. Ricardo behind the net, gives it to Kerman. Running at the right corner, moves it to Ikevalco at the left corner. DeValco loses that puck as Tahizu gets it off his stick. He has been very good these last few possessions. There's a chance for ROBE Esports. Another shot saved there. Kosti, who will hold on for the stoppage. Halfway through this game, 7:56 to play in the second period, and we are tied at 2. Almost Famous had a 2-0 lead early, and you thought this was maybe going to be a repeat of game 5. They're a blowout win, but ROBE Esports have stayed off the momentum and tied this thing up after back-to-back goals. As that puck was loose in the blue paint, but it was eventually fouled by Atsu. Finds its way to Kosti. He's not going to take any chances as he frees it with 6:23 to go. You have to respect the response from ROBE Esports, no matter which direction this game ends up going, whether it's win or loss. Their ability to bounce back in the tip in front, score! ROBE Esports take their first lead of the game! And it's Yurki on the tip play that beats Almost Famous. And all of a sudden, 3 unanswered goals for ROBE Esports, who are up 3-2 in the game, up 3-2 in the series. Just 5 minutes to play here in the second period as an offside call as ROBE Esports tried to break it back in the offensive zone. And now, for Almost Famous, the pressure shifts over to them. The momentum that seemed overwhelmingly on their side to start this game, and throughout much of the first period has all of a sudden turned against them. Not had much time on attack. They've not had many shots since the start. And they're now down by a goal with their season on the line. And as we mentioned, this is a team that has won a championship in each of their last 2 seasons competing. They won the ECL 24 Light Division Championship in the rookie season, won the ECL 24 Pro Division Championship in the spring. They did not play last season, came back this season. It would basically be a 3-peat for them. They have a couple of pieces returning from those teams, so it would be a disappointment for them to not only be knocked out in the quarterfinals, but to not even get a chance to earn their way in the Elite Division for the ECL 26 winter season. They'll be back in the Pro Division, barring some sort of qualifying. Esports working in the offensive zone, but puck down by Costin, who would freeze it with 1:11 to go. That is what is on the line right now for Almost Famous. It would be a disappointment for them, but number 3 overall seed, one of the championship favorites heading into the season and heading into the playoffs. ROBE Esports have it in the offensive zone, but not for long. It's turned over. Here comes Almost Famous down the other end. All team controlling it, trying to pass in front, but it's picked off and found by ROBE Esports. He controlling it, he's under pressure, and it's turned over as Ikavalko gets it. Couldn't keep it in the offensive zone, and they'll just kill off the rest of that clock. ROBE Esports up by 1, 20 minutes away from sealing the series and assuring their spot into the Pro Division semifinals. Down to nothing. They scored 3 unanswered since, and that goal right there, that tip in front from Yurtki, gave ROBE Esports that 3-2 advantage that they currently hold. So we'll get a look at the numbers and how those have rounded out after 2 periods. 10-8 in shots in favor of ROBE. 6:55 retirement attack for Almost Famous. 5:23 for ROBE. But the thing is Almost Famous, they've not really gotten a whole lot in the way of offensive chances. Despite the time and attack, they could use some more shots, and they just have not really been able to find them so far. They have at least 20 more minutes remaining to try to find their way. We get set for period number 3 in game 6. I'm going to make sure to thank and shout out our sponsors, Quarterfinals Accuracy, Game Changer, and Wellnet for their support of the ECL. Both Wellnet and Game Changer have some amazing deals going on, so make sure you go check them out. Nevertheless, ROBE Esports going in the offensive end, up by 1, poked off of the stick there of Quintela, and now here comes ROBE Esports down the opposite end. A penalty called against ROBE. A power play coming up for Almost Famous. The shot almost blocked in front, and Quintela will head to the box. So Almost Famous, a big opportunity on the power play. We saw this team on the power play a little bit earlier, and we're not able to capitalize. And right after, ROBE Esports tied it up. Feels like that was the play that really shifted the momentum in this game. Almost Famous have not been the same since. Can they maybe exercise those demons here on this man advantage opportunity? Have it in the offensive zone as Yalkin holds at the point and gives it to Sisu. Sisu, forward, passing front shot on by Yalkin, is stopped by Vilsa. Sisu with it. Passing front shot on, denied by Vilsa. Puck loose in front. Found by Yalkin. Gives it up. One-time shot gloved in by Vilsa again. And a timeout going to be called by ROBE Esports, but we'll get another look at the sequence of saves from Vilsa. That one right there that I just thought was a sure goal from Ikavalko. Denies him with the glove. There were a couple of more chances to follow, and Ikavalko, robbery on all of them. 16-16 the play. ROBE Esports clinging on to that 1-goal lead, and they're clinging with the glove of Vilsa right now. 31 seconds to go, and it's Almost Famous power play. They get it in the offensive zone. Sisu at the right point, working his way forward. Gives it up to Karani. Karani back to Sisu. Sisu worked it in front of Yalkin, but he couldn't hold on to it. It's picked up by Karani instead. Over to Sisu at the point. Tipped in front, stopped there by Vilsa. ROBE Esports trying to get out of their own end. They're back to 5-on-5. Out of the box, and they're able to kill off that power play. A strong power play for Almost Famous, but it doesn't reward them with a goal. 1-1 in the series and in this game 6. Sisu trying to pass it over to Karani, but it's intercepted. Sisu dumps it in. No one going to give chase to that for ROBE, and they give Almost Famous a possession as Sisu and Yalkin work it into Ikavalko. Down, however, by Aksu for ROBE, and now here comes ROBE Esports down the other end. Nicola with it. Trying to get that shot in front. Costi was sliding around in net there, but no one there to take advantage of it. 11 minutes to go. He lifted up the left corner, moving it up to the left wall to Yalkin at the point. Trying to give it back to Kearney, but he wasn't in position to get that pass. And over, and ROBE Esports now going down the opposite way. At the boards, just kind of puts that on net, and it's blockered away off of the stick of Costi. Looked harmless, but it might have been a little bit more dangerous than you would have thought. Most famous half possession. Controlled by ROBE in the neutral zone. It's in the offensive end. Same shot, and it's tipped this time and stopped by Costi. Kuntila's doing this kind of odd little flip over at the left boards. It's almost like a dump play. It's kind of backhanded and skied up in the air, and it's forcing Costi to use his blocker, and that time it was tipped on and nearly went in. As another chance there. That one blocked in front. ROBE Esports. Some very sudden chances. 7 minutes to play. Almost famous, trying to find the tying answer here. Easy has it. 3-on-2 shot there on the one-timer from Kuntila. Stop by Costi. Full pressure for ROBE Esports. One goal could very well be the dagger that they're looking for. Another shot. This one swept aside by Costi. Approaching the 5-minute mark. Almost famous with possession. One of the title favorites. Their season, their championship hopes on the line. They need at least one goal to push this to an overtime. Need another one to push it to a game 7. It's controlled behind the net by Ricardo, trying to give it up to Ikavalko. He's had no space. It's battled for, scrum for, and won by ROBE Esports. Turned over, however, in the neutral zone. Kearney to Ikavalko. The left corner, moves up to the point to Yalkin. Under pressure, and turned over, but found by Kearney. Off of his stick as he's bumped off the puck by Tahizu. 1.5 minutes to go. ROBE Esports, they can feel it, they can smell it, they can taste it, and a second goal that they needed goes in the oddest of fashions. Luki will be credited with the goal, but the puck, as you can see, Luki, his player falls to the ground, and as he did, he kind of swept that towards Costi, and it just bounces in. It extends the lead to 2 for ROBE Esports. And they're gonna have a power play now coming up to boot. The Bears are indeed rocking with 56.9 seconds to play. They have it in the offensive zone. Shot on, hits the post, and the second one there takes its way past that red line. 42 seconds to go, and it is dire straits for Almost Famous. An Almost Famous team that, again, the feeling was title or bust more than likely for this team. At least semifinals or bust, as Tahizu, the longtime captain, puts it to bed for ROBE Esports. Scores on the breakaway and beats Costi. You saw Odd he just said it in the Twitch chat. ROBE Esports, they were an 8 seed. They were a very good team, but this will go down as one of the more considerable upsets that we've seen in a while in this division, and the Bears are pouring it on. The claws are out. It is 6-2. 3 straight goals, 6 unanswered, and ROBE Esports, they are pouring it on right now on Almost Famous. It doesn't feel like that long ago that Almost Famous were up 2-0 in this game in the first period. And we were talking about it. This is an Almost Famous team that coming into the season, they were unquestionably title contenders. Veterans across the board. Elite Division experience across the board. A team that won the Pro Division title 2 seasons ago, won the Light Division title the season before that. They make the return. They dominate in the regular season, the number 3 overall seed, and this is a ROBE Esports team that everyone said, hey, a good team coming in, maybe they can steal a game or two. But this almost famous team, a little bit too much, a little bit too talented. This ROBE Esports team has never made it this far, and now they will go even further. 5 seconds to go, a 6-2 lead, and ROBE Esports have stunned the Pro Division. They knock out Almost Famous in 6 games. They are on to the semifinals and are the first team to secure their place. They know they will have a chance to be Elite Bound next season and extend their magical run for at least one more playoff round. A well-deserved result for ROBE Esports, who, as we mentioned, their second season under the ROBE Esports name. They were formerly under the Rocking Bears name. They've had some Elite Division talents in the past. Sniperty and Latvex. Latvex, the rookie of the season a season ago with Mustakulta, their starting goaltender, made it all the way to the Elite Division Finals. We talked about Sniperty, one of the starters for Hymo, who will be continuing their series with Parasite in the Elite Quarterfinals tomorrow. He's been phenomenal for that Hymo team. And you feel like maybe a couple of those next big names in the Elite Division could very well be on this current ROBE Esports roster. As we bring you back into the booth one more time, Brandon B, Major Bigsby with you as, I mean, you talk about it again with this ROBE Esports team. I mean, what a story they are. I mean, not many people really knew what to expect with this group. I think people felt like this is a team that had playoff aspirations, to say the least. We didn't really know how far they would be able to go, right? We didn't know if they would be a team that could make it into the quarterfinals, make it into the semifinals, make a deep, sustained playoff run, because we hadn't seen them do it before. But when you look at this group, they have talent. They have proven Pro Division talent. I mean, you talk about Tehizu. You know, this ROBE Esports team may have not been around last season. He was a 90-point player for Aspire a season ago, had 41 goals for that Aspire team, both one of the top numbers in the division. I mean, this is a team that has 10 players, including Tehizu, who ranked in the top 10 in assists in the regular season. I mean, this is a very, very, very talented team, and this is the furthest that Rocking Bears / ROBE Esports have ever made it in a playoff run. They've been to the playoffs once. That was in the Light Division in the ECL 24 winter season. They ended up making it to the first round, lost in 5 games, missed the playoffs in their own Pro Division season in the spring, just missed out, were 1 spot out, didn't play last season, come back this season, retool most of the roster. Tehizu was the only player back from that team from a year ago. They brought in multiple talented players, and boy, oh boy, did it pay off for them. ROBE Esports moving on to the semifinals. Congratulations to them, as we will give you one final look at the Pro Division playoff bracket. And folks, ROBE Esports, the first team to punch their ticket into the semifinals. They win the series over Almost Famous 4-2. They win it in 6 games, and they are now probably the biggest upset, I would say, so far this season. I mean, you saw Otsis, he mentioned in the chat, the seeding may not tell you, but just considering the stories of these two teams and just the expectation that Almost Famous team had, I mean, again, you just felt like it was semifinals or bust for that team. They had to make it to the semifinals. They had to push for the Elite Division with the talent, with the experience of this roster, the pedigree of this roster. Again, they had won a title each of their last 2 seasons as a team in the ECL. They get knocked out in the quarterfinals by an upstart ROBE Esports team. And we've seen this plenty of times before in the Pro Division, the team that you least expect at the beginning of the season, making that run, pushing their way into that semifinals, the finals range, and they find themselves in the Elite Division. We talked about it on the Elite Division cast yesterday. Some of those Pro Division teams in the last couple of seasons have become staples. The teams like Mustakulta, like SSK Esports this season, like Totori, like Polsky Boys, like Blackbirds, teams that have earned their way up from the Pro Division and have made it in the Elite Division and have become mainstays up there. And ROBE Esports, they're on their way. They punched their ticket into the semifinals. They are the first team to do so. Afterlife and Otukset 2-1 in their series. Not too sure if they have played so far today, but nevertheless, Afterlife, the number 2 seed, up in that series as ROBE Esports more than likely going to see either Afterlife or Golden Buffaloes in that semifinals matchup. As man, oh man, what a series. ROBE Esports defeating Almost Famous in 6 games. As Pirates Esports and Vizio still needing to get their series underway, and then Golden Buffaloes and Fallon Coal Miners in the same position. But ROBE Esports into the semifinals. We bring you back into the studio one more time. And folks, if you enjoyed our coverage today, I don't know how you wouldn't have with the action that we saw. Make sure you come back here tomorrow at twitch.tv/ReactIO Media as we have Elite Division quarterfinals action. Hymo, the number 6 seed, will be going up against Parasite. And folks, 1-1 series. Parasite, the defending champions. Hymo gave them all they can handle. Won their game, won in overtime, pushed them to overtime again in game number 2. And it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of that series unfolds. As our start time, 1945 CEST. It'll be the remainder of that series, game 3 through 7. So however long it takes, however far these two teams want to go with it, we're going to cover them the whole way through. Again, a 1945 CEST start time. That'll be our pregame coverage with puck drop being scheduled for 20 CST. And like we were saying, Parasite, the defending champions from last season, defeated Mustakulta in 6 games. We're in a 3 seed this season, but Hymo giving them all they can handle. So going to be interesting if maybe we see another upset. We've seen one big upset here in the Pro Division now. So far, everything is played out as expected in the Elite Division, as the top 4 seeds have currently all found their way in. They're just waiting on Parasite to join them, as Last Dance, the 1 seed, Mythics, the 2 seed, and Exen, the 4 seed, are all semifinals bound, just waiting on this result in Parasite and Hymo to round out that bracket. So once again, 1945 CEST tomorrow, right here at twitch.tv/ReactIO Media. You can also find us live on our YouTube page at ReactIO Media, or live on our Twitter/X account, whatever you prefer to call it, at SportsGamer GG. I'll be back with you on the call for that. Make sure you join us 1945 CEST, or if you're on the North American side of things like I am, that would be 1:45 Eastern Standard Time. As we will, for the last time for the day, bring you back into the booth. Thank you all for joining us. Congratulations to ROBE Esports successfully clinching their spot into the semifinals. Congratulations as well to Almost Famous on a great season. Not the ending that they would have liked, obviously, but still a very accomplished season. I highly doubt this is the last time we see them. If there's an ECL Elite Division qualifier, that is a team that I am sure will definitely be considered for that and could very well be a favorite finding themselves in the Elite Division. But for now, looks like they'll be back down in the Pro Division, surprisingly to everybody. ROBE Esports pulls off the upset in 6 games. Big thank you to Ken and the SportsGamer GG staff for everything they do to make the ECL operate behind the scenes. Big thank you to our amazing producer, Chris Ryan, who put on this broadcast. Everything that you see on the technical side, all him, the best in the game, bar none. A big thank you to him for everything he does. And a shout out to our sponsors, Covenant Lockety, Game Changer, and WellNet for their support of the ECL and SportsGamer. Thank you all for spending your Tuesday evening with us. Congratulations once again to ROBE Esports. They are moving on to the semifinals. My name is Brandon B. Major Bigsby. Thank you all for joining us. We will see you right back here tomorrow for ECL Elite Division quarterfinals action right here at twitch.tv/ReactIO Media. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks again for tuning in.
Welcome to the SportsGamer Health and Performance Program. Nice to have you here. Here you have a large amount of different workouts from WellNet, but also material just exclusive for you gamers. In your sessions, we focus mostly on neck and shoulder mobility, back health, and concentration. So give it a try and let us know what you think about it.